Jesus Christ, guys, the news today, it overfloweth. Take a look at this. We're over at OAN. New internal emails reveal Ilhan Omar's staff chaos over sham marriage story. But I thought it was a conspiracy theory to think that she was married to her brother. This was the line the left-wing shill media was spitting out just a few days ago when Donald Trump just off the cuff mentioned that he had heard stories that this chick's married to her brother, and the left media went crazy. But the heat is only getting turned up on this story. It's fantastic. And this is why Trump is such a genius. He just dragged this dumb bitch and those three other congresswomen of color to the forefront of the Democrat Party. And now it looks like he's going to spank this Ilhan Omar in front of the entire country. This chick's got a ton of baggage associated to her. Is she in this country legally? All right, we don't even know her real name at this point. There's some confusion. It looks like she might have been smuggled in under a false name. Something that apparently was going on quite a bit with all of these Somalian refugees back in the 90s. And then there's all this confusion. Is she married to her brother? Is she married to this other guy? Is she married to two people at one time? And at bare minimum, with all of this chaos going on with who she's married to, she's committing tax fraud. She's been filing her taxes while stating that she's married to both of these people. You got some craziness going on with this chick. And now, take a look at these internal emails that they were passing around from her campaign headquarters. Jesus Christ, get ready for this. Here we go. I have conferred with Carla and think that we are probably in position where giving real background is helpful in tying this up. That said, having now tried to write a statement multiple times that says, quote, I'm not legally married to two people, but I am legally married to one and culturally married to another. Jesus Christ. I think it's impossible without making it even more confusing. It just doesn't work in writing. Signed, Ilhan Omar. You see that? It's just too confusing. For all you stupid, racist, conservative bigots out there, you guys just don't understand. In my culture, it's totally fine to be culturally married to your brother so you can sneak him into a country. You see, in this shithole Somalia where I come from, it's totally fine to be married to a bunch of people. But, screw you guys, it's so hard to explain because you're racist and you're bigots. This is literally the conversation that they're having in her headquarters. Man, this is so fucking crazy. By the way, we're getting a lot of breaking news. Here's from BNL. Breaking news. Representative Ilhan Omar's campaign have reportedly sent threats to various people and companies who have clear evidence of her being married to her brother and engaging in serious immigration and tax fraud. I'm sure the tone of those letters are, hey, you better not expose my paperwork. Hey, you better not expose all this information showing that I'm a complete tax fraud, I'm committing immigration fraud, or we're going to call you racist. And of course, all of these outlets are like, oh my god, I don't want to be called the racist by Ilhan Omar's and the squad, so I'm just going to remain quiet. But good luck with that, because Judicial Watch has just filed an ethics complaint against Ilhan Omar. Take a look at this over at townhall.com. Government watchdog Judicial Watch, with that massive Tom Fitton, has filed an ethics complaint with the U.S. House of Representatives Office of Congressional Ethics against Democrat Congresswoman of color Ilhan Omar over numerous allegations of fraud and repeated criminal action. Substantial, compelling, and to date unrefuted evidence has been uncovered that Representative Ilhan Omar may have committed the following crimes in violation of both federal law and Minnesota state law: perjury, immigration fraud, marriage fraud, state and federal tax fraud, and federal student loan fraud. Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton wrote in a letter to Congressional Ethics Chairman David Skaggs, quote, such violations would also breach the Code of Ethics for Government Service, to which all federal office holders are subject. Quote, any person in government service should uphold the Constitution, laws, and legal regulations of the United States and all governments therein, and never be a party to their evasion, end quote. Representative Omar's actions in this suspected immigration fraud, marriage fraud, perjurious statements on her Minnesota divorce filings, and falsifications on her tax returns merit your immediate investigation. Devastating. And to all of you shill lefty media out there, why aren't you covering any of this? Why does somebody have to go to OAN to get any reports on this? Why do we have to go to townhall.com to find out what's going on? For sure, a country that's just absolutely drippings with the systemic racisms. I'm sure this entire infrastructure must be working to get out this proud brown woman, this congresswoman of color. But all I hear is crickets. It's almost like the establishment and this media corporation machine is protecting somebody based on their color. So there you have it, guys. Just another instance of that Democrat privilege where you can apparently be married to multiple people within an email that you wrote yourself. You just got caught with your own email talking about how you're married to two people, one of them being your brother. This mainstream media wants to keep absolutely quiet about it. All right, guys, man, if you guys want more information covering.
Well, President Trump firing back at Congresswomen Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar after the pair slammed him over their ban from Israel. And then the president tweeting, sorry, I don't buy Rep. Tlaib's tears. I have watched her violent craziness and, most importantly, words for far too long. Now tears? She hates Israel and all Jewish people. She is an anti-Semite. She and her three friends are the new face of the Democratic Party. Live with it. So the question now is, where does this saga go from here? Joining me to discuss, former Florida Congressman Lieutenant Colonel Allen West. Colonel West, thanks for joining us. I was riveted, actually, by the press conference yesterday. And some of the things that were said, you know, they're pretty good at walking up to a level, for instance, injecting apartheid into the conversation, knowing for years that many have equated Zionism to apartheid. Those kind of things, I think, hurt their other arguments, and even the people who backed them are saying that maybe they shouldn't have, maybe Netanyahu shouldn't have stopped them from coming into Israel in the first place, although that was rescinded later. Your thoughts on that?
Well, it's good to be with you, Charles, and let's be very honest. At some point in time, there have to be consequences to the radicalism and the statements and the comments that these two individuals, Ms. Tlaib and also Ms. Omar, have made. Rashida Tlaib, if you do your background research, she has had some very interesting associations with Islamic jihadists, Palestinian terrorists. As a matter of fact, she could have gone on the normal congressional delegation, something that I did back in 2011. But instead, she chose to decline that invitation, and they accepted an invitation from a group by the name of Miftah, which has association with Palestinian terrorism. Now, one of the things during her tears, and she was crying about checkpoints and her mother having to go through, well, why did the Israelis have to put those checkpoints out? Because during the time that she spent there, from I believe the ages 2 to 10, there were hundreds of Israelis and thousands that were wounded and killed because of Palestinian terrorism. And also, Ilhan Omar did not address the issue. How many millions and billions of dollars have been sent over to the Fatah, the Palestinian Authority, and they've in turn used that money as payments to the families of Palestinian terrorists and members of Al-Quds, Al-Aqsa Brigade, and Islamic Jihad.
So, also there was talk of the occupation of Palestine. And then another issue that kind of caught my attention, and I think people have picked up on it, hinting perhaps at of America stopping its funding efforts with Israel. Of course, yes. This latest funding package was initiated by the Obama administration.
Yeah, absolutely right. And one of the things that both of them have to come to realize is that the BDS movement, the boycott, divest, and sanctions movement, that is a movement that would undermine and destroy our best ally in the Middle East, the modern-day state of Israel. And for them to have said prior to them being elected that they would not participate in the BDS movement, but then once they became elected, they signed on to it. And when you think about Rashida Tlaib from the House floor, she compared our ally Israel to Nazi Germany, saying that the sanctions that we were looking to put on Israel would be just the same as if we were sanctioning Nazi Germany. And of course, let us not forget that this is the same Rashida Tlaib that said that the Holocaust gave her a calming feeling.
Yeah. Let's switch to a more fun topic, the idea of the United States buying Greenland. Of course, President Trump, he seems real serious about this. In fact, he tweeted out a photo of, that's it. He says, I promise not to do this to Greenland. It was just fun and games at this point. But you know what? Yeah. Some people are wondering, is this actually, you're someone who understands positioning, geography, and what it could mean to the United States. Could it be a venture worth pursuing?
Well, we already have an agreement with Greenland. Lots of times our troops, when they're transporting over into that theater of operations, being Europe and the Middle East, they have a stop off there in Greenland with those airport facilities. But I think that the president was just pulling the leg of the media and just seeing how far they would go with this. But I'd like to make a recommendation to the president. If you're going to buy Greenland, I think that you should make Ms. Ocasio-Cortez the governor of Greenland, and she can have her Green New Deal there all she wants.
All right. Hey, real quick, Colonel West, you're running for the president of the Texas GOP. How's that going?
Last week, Thursday, we announced that we would be running to be the next chairman of the Republican Party of Texas. Charles, it's going very well. I think that when you look at the ideological battle in the United States of America, it's right here in Texas. The fact that the progressive socialist left believes that they can take Texas and flip it just the same as they've done Nevada, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. Yeah. That should be a big challenge for us, and we're not going to allow that to happen on my watch.
Well, let's face it, Mr. O'Rourke did pretty good that last time out. He didn't win, but he did enough, I guess, to scare folks. Lieutenant Colonel West,